We're here with Brandon Beard from Grow Wealth 101. We're going to be talking about how to go from overwhelmed to confident and how to build a manageable investing plan. So we're talking about real estate investing in particular. So tell me a little bit about how, just in general, how can you take some of the stress and confusion out of this process? Like how would you tell people to get started with this?
Well, first off, I can tell you what I did.
Okay.
I waited a little while before I started. I had a plan formulated.
Mm-hmm.
I had my network, and we've talked about a network of professionals, and you should build that from day one.
Yeah.
As we've discussed, your realtor, your appraiser, which I love appraisers,
Yes.
obviously, your home inspector, your banker. Those are folks that you want to build that team from the ground up.
Yeah.
And when you have that first opportunity to buy a property, you have that network already in place. Don't find a property and then try to build it as you go.
Yeah.
You want to build that from day one. And then when you have that opportunity, you're ready to jump. And I promise you, it will be so much more successful.
Because I guess if you have a good opportunity in front of you, you don't want to be scrambling to find the realtor and scrambling to find the appraiser.
That's right. That team, though, is what sustains you and guides you. If you have that in place, I'm not saying it's totally stress-free, but it will make life a lot easier.
Yeah, makes a big difference. So why do people typically get overwhelmed when they're starting this process? What would you say are the top 2 or 3 things that overwhelm people?
I would say number one is their comfort level.
Yeah.
You're branching out into something that you've never done before. And so when you do that, your mindset, you have to have the mindset of, I'm going to jump out, okay? I'm not going to go head first.
Yeah.
But at the same time, though, you have to get out of that comfort zone you're in and realize, hey, my daytime job and my future in terms of my financial well-being needs an improvement.
Yeah.
I really need to move in a different direction. What I'm doing is good, though, but why not have that backup?
Right.
To sustain wealth for a long term through the rest of your life.
Right.
Your daytime job, if you have a 401k, if you have an old school pension, those are great mechanisms for retirement in many cases. However, though, those have limitations.
Yeah.
And real estate you can build on it. You can start small, you can build big, you could start small, and you can stay small.
Yeah.
And so to me, that is really the key to this
Yeah.
is laying the foundation before you get started. And once you do get started, having that building block to guide you along the way, and then also, building upon what you have started.
Yeah.
And those individuals will guide you and help you along, and our course will also help you as well.
Yeah. So just since you mentioned it, how do you feel that your course will help people get past the initial overwhelm of just starting this?
I think to have everything condensed in one class. Now, my course is very extensive. It's not going to tell you everything in the world, every situation, but to have that resource to go from step one all the way through the process of becoming a seasoned investor, I think is very, very important. You're not going to remember everything.
No, of course not.
But at the same time, though, you have a reference tool.
Yeah.
And you can build on that. And we're going to have a lot of different other items that you can purchase along the way,
Okay.
as well as networking with other individuals, seasoned investors that will help you to sustain your long-term plan.
And that seems like it's worth a lot just in itself, just getting that network of people.
It is.
Yeah.
That network, though, and I look at my competitors, whether it be in the appraisal business or other seasoned investors, I'm always looking at what they are doing and asking them questions. What are their rents in a neighborhood? What do they see is a long-term trend, as far as property values? That's where your appraiser comes into play.
Right.
Because a lot of people look at things from just a microscope, more or less, and what this does is that it allows you to expand on this and say, hey, you know what? I want to look to the future. What does the appraiser see in the next 5 years for this market?
Which is amazing that they can do that.
That's right.
I mean, how does an appraiser know what's going to happen? I mean, I know that they don't know, but how do they look at what's going to happen?
Well, what we do is we take historic information and analyze it over a period of time, and we forecast. Now, with forecasting, that's not to say that it will be 100% correct. However, though, we have an educated opinion of
Yeah.
where the market is headed,
Yeah.
maybe more so, hopefully, than a lot of other professionals in the field.
Can you go into that a little bit more, like as far as the structure of the course? Can you
Right.
kind of walk me through what that looks like?
Sure. We start with the mindset,
Okay.
as we've discussed. The mindset of an appraiser, okay, is obviously where I teach this class from,
Yeah.
but also from the mindset of an investor. And so we're combining those two into the course, starting from looking for properties, finding that realtor, that home inspector, that banker, whoever else you need in that team, your contractor, as an
Oh,
example.
yeah.
Good contractors are very, very difficult to find.
Yeah.
So it's very important, though, to have those folks in place. And then we talk about, obviously, financing later on. We talk about, once you finish that first job, building upon that and building thereafter.
Yeah, kind of a snowball effect.
That's right.
The idea of a plan is great. I'm sure everyone loves the idea of having a team and kind of having this process that they're going to follow. Practically speaking, how do you sit down with them and help them build this?
First off, I want to find people that are truly eager, that are eager from a financial point of view. And I think about my in-laws as an example. They started later on in their career, and the timing really wasn't right. They ended up selling their properties, which is fine. They made a profit,
Right.
but at the same time, though, they were well into their 60s
Yeah.
and towards the end of retirement, and really and truly, that was not the best time for them
Okay.
to start investing in real estate.
Yeah.
So I obviously would want to coach them if they would like that after they take my course, and go through that step by step to say, hey, this is the plan. Are you at the right step in your life to do this?
Yeah. So you're even doing some sort of preliminary evaluating.
That is right.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's really, really important to see, to lay out the whole picture. You don't want to be in my position, in a sales position where you're trying to sell something that may not have a benefit to
Yeah.
someone.
Yeah. And so if people are in the beginning of their career or the middle or the end stage, what if they want something that you feel like is not going to work? How do you have that conversation?
Well, you have to really structure it to a point where they understand that.
Yeah.
Why is this? Well, I've heard of all the great successes that people have had in real estate.
Yeah.
And most people will fall into the category of it's a go.
Yeah.
Okay. There may be some situations where they do not, but it's really about looking at the whole picture.
Yeah.
When you plan with a financial planner for retirement, you're looking at your whole picture, not just an individual segment of that.
Can you explain a little bit about how having a clear plan can change an outcome? Like if someone starts without a plan versus if they start with a good plan, what's the difference? I would imagine a lot, but tell me what the difference is.
There definitely is. Not having a plan, more or less, is gambling with the situation, because you're hoping that all the pieces fall into place. Now, once you become a seasoned investor and you have that network, you can gamble a little bit more in terms of, all right, well, I'm going to maybe take a chance on this neighborhood. But on the early stages of your process, you need that plan.
Yeah.
And I can help you with that plan.
Yeah.
I can help you from step one through the process and guide you to that truly goal of having real estate that is successful for you and building that long-term future.
And I would imagine for someone in the beginning of this, probably the decisions that you're going to make as far as what you purchase are going to be pretty safe, right?
That's right. I would say early on, I think of my first property that I purchased in 2008. It was a good property. It was a safe property. It was in a neighborhood that I knew very, very well. I knew that it would have good cash flow. And so I took it safe. And I think for your first few investments, you definitely want to stay safe.
Yeah.
As you become more seasoned, you become more acclimated with the market, you have a good relationship with your appraiser, your realtor, they're guiding you along the way.
Yeah.
And so that's a totally different scenario. But in the early stages, you definitely want to take it more measured in terms of finding that property. First, maybe 5 properties as an example.
Yeah.
And then once you've been through, not to say that you're a total seasoned investor at that point in time, but you have been through the pitfalls, the ups, the downs that really make this process fun and successful as well.
Yeah. And I guess in the beginning, you also don't have that much money probably to play
Yes,
with.
that's right. And,
Yeah.
and some people have more than others. Some people have been able to save through their other retirement mechanisms or just general savings.
Yeah.
But some people are a little bit more strapped in terms of what they can add to the property.
Right.
In terms of a down payment, renovations. And so you have to take that all into consideration.
So you've talked a little bit about how when people sign up for your course, they kind of get this network of people around them.
Right.
So what role does that play, or even the role of like a mentor or just someone in your corner? What role does that play in keeping people on track with the plan that they've developed?
Well, accountability. First off, a mentor is invaluable. I think about in my appraisal career, in my investment career with my dad, as well as others, and when they saw something that they knew that I did wrong, they were quick to point it out.
Oh, yeah, which is great.
It is, though, to say, you know what, this was not a good choice, okay? Or would be a good choice for that matter. I didn't end up buying the property.
Well, that's good.
Right. And so those are the people that you need to rely on, especially early in your career. And once you have become seasoned yourself, and let's say you want to buy 10 properties and you want to stop, and that's your goal and it works for you, then maybe you can help the next generation.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like the kind of thing where you can learn about it on paper to a point, but then you just kind of have to have some experience, right?
You do. Practical experience with anything.
Yeah.
It's easy to go to college or even in high school to learn a trade, okay?
Yeah.
But to practically do it.
Yeah.
It's a major step. In fact, I have a banker who's a friend of mine, and he's in his 60s, and he really wants to get into it. And I've had lunch with him several times, but he isn't able to make that next step. And so it's important, though. Yeah, he's seeing the market, and I think he's passed on some good opportunities to get started, but he's got to have the mindset. And so I'm working with him to hopefully have that mindset.
Yeah. So what's holding him back? What do you think is in his way?
It's out of his comfort zone.
Okay.
He sees people that are very successful with it. Obviously, he sees folks that have not been as successful with it.
Yeah.
But it's the mindset, and he'll get there. I'm working with him.
Yeah. Sometimes it just takes a while. Huh?
It takes a little while.
Yeah. A little while ago, you mentioned that when people are signing up for this course, there's like this network of community. So we talked about the mentors and the advisors and the team of people, which is the professionals that are going to be involved in the transactions. But there was this other group that you sort of mentioned a second ago, and it sounded more like peers. Like
Right.
more like people who are also doing the same thing alongside you. They're not your mentor. They're not your team.
Right.
They're just sort of in your same community. So talk a little bit about what that community looks like and what the value of it is.
Our community has professionals of all, realtors, inspectors, bankers. And so those are the people that you can rely on to help you along the way. As an example, you have people in other markets. Let's say you're in the Southeast, you can network with someone that's out in California or in the Northeast to get an idea of what they're doing and seeing their trends in the marketplace, as well as network to find deals yourself.
Yeah.
Ultimately, though, you have your close-knit network of professionals, okay? However, there may be people in other markets. There may be people in your specific area that you don't know. And so this allows you the ability to network with them, get to know them, possibly partner with them. Because we want to build a community that is sustainable for people that really are eager.
Yeah.
I really want to talk with people that are really eager. They've tried other things, or they've heard about how real estate can really transform their retirement and their financial well-being. And so getting in a community that has a like-minded group is really key. And I think that our network and community will help everyone along the way.
Yeah, and I would think it probably keeps you inspired too.
It does. Right. And even if there are pitfalls along the way, though, believe me, others have had those problems as well.
Yeah.
And especially people outside of your market. I get some great ideas from people that are outside of my market.
Keeps you inspired, keeps the ideas flowing.
It does.
If you have a hard day or a bad transaction, you're not the only one,
Right.
right? Yeah, that seems like it would be really
How
valuable.
can you better your product?
Yeah.
That's what from each transaction, and I think about it even for appraisals,
Yeah.
the same thing. How can you better your product? If you're staying the course, okay, in some respects that can be good if you have a system that's working though. But I'm going to tell you though, if you stay your course too long, it's probably not going to work well in the
Yeah.
coming years.
Yeah. You got to find the balance between
You've got to
everything, right?
find the balance.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Well, thank you for talking us through this. I know, I think it could be very overwhelming to people to even get started, but it sounds like with your course, it could be very easy just to take that first step.
I think so. And as we
Yeah.
discussed, our network too. Our
Yeah.
network is really key to that. And the course is the golden opportunity to begin.
Yeah. So, Brandon Beard, Grow Wealth 101, if you're interested in taking the first step to real estate investing, but don't know what that even looks like. Good news, you don't have to, because Brandon knows it for you. So, look forward to talking to you again. Thank you.
You.